Behind the stoic detectives and wartime heroes of Foyle's War lay actors whose real lives were marked by fame, tragedy, and untold struggles. The beloved British series, which ran from 2002 to 2015, brought World War II-era England to life through its gripping mysteries and complex characters. But off-screen, the cast faced battles just as dramatic as those they portrayed, from sudden losses and career declines to personal demons and quiet retirements. Christopher Foyle's calm determination made him an icon, but Michael Kitchen's own story reveals a man who retreated from fame. J. Benedict's Captain Kiefer showed military precision, yet his final years were haunted by financial woes before COVID-19 took him. Tim Pigot Smith commanded every scene as Brigadier Wilson, only for a heart attack to silence one of Britain's finest stage actors. And behind Honeysuckle Weeks, plucky Samantha Stewart lay tabloid storms in a fight to rebuild her life. These actors gave us unforgettable performances, but their legacies extend far beyond the screen. Some found peace, others met tragic ends, and a few continue to honor the craft that defined them. As we revisit their journeys, the breakthroughs, the heartbreaks, and the moments that never made the headlines, one question lingers. How did the war they portrayed on television compare to the wars they fought in real life? Subscribe now as we uncover the triumphs and tragedies of Foyle's War's unforgettable cast. Their stories, like the show itself, are equal parts inspiring and heartbreaking, testaments to the price of art and the resilience of those who create it. Michael Kitchen brought an unforgettable quiet intensity to Detective Chief Superintendent Christopher Foyle, becoming the steady moral compass at the heart of Foyle's War. When the show premiered in 2002, the then 54-year-old actor was already a respected veteran of British film and television, with standout roles in GoldenEye and The Buccaneers. But it was Foyle, the reserved yet razor-sharp investigator navigating wartime corruption, that would define his career. Behind the scenes, Kitchen mirrored his character's preference for privacy. Married to actress Rowena Miller since 1987, he fiercely guarded his family life from public scrutiny. Colleagues often described him as intensely private, a trait that sometimes bordered on reclusive as his fame grew. This withdrawal intensified after 2010, when a close family member's death left him grief-stricken. Rather than capitalizing on Foyle's War's success, Kitchen deliberately scaled back his work, later admitting in rare interviews that he never enjoyed the spotlight. His post-Foyle career was selective but potent. A standout turn as a morally compromised politician in 2017's The Child in Time proved his range extended far beyond wartime detectives. Yet by 2025, the now 76-year-old actor had settled into semi-retirement in rural Sussex, emerging only occasionally for prestigious stage roles. Fans hoping for a Foyle's War revival were gently disappointed. Kitchen insisted the character's story was complete. What lingers is the paradox of his legacy. An actor who despised fame but created one of television's most beloved characters. As co-star Honeysuckle Weeks observed, Michael didn't just play Foyle. He was Foyle, principled, private, and profoundly human. The stern but fair Captain John Kiefer could always be relied upon in Foyle's War, but J. Benedict's own life story was one of resilience in the face of cruel twists of fate. When he joined the cast in 2006, at age 55, Benedict brought decades of experience from cult classics like Aliens, 1986, and The Dark Knight Rises, 2012. His Kiefer was a man of quiet authority, a quality that mirrored Benedict's real-life reputation as the consummate professional's professional among peers. Behind his steady on-screen presence, Benedict weathered personal storms. The 2008 financial crisis wiped out much of his savings, forcing him to take smaller roles despite his pedigree. He never complained, recalled Foyle's War producer Jill Green, but I knew he was taking the bus to set while coaching younger actors during breaks. His marriage to artist Phoebe Schofield endured, but their two sons faced health challenges that drained the family emotionally and financially. Tragically, Benedict's late career resurgence was cut short by the COVID-19 pandemic. In early 2020, While preparing for a West End revival of The Exorcist, he contracted the virus. His condition deteriorated rapidly, and on April 4th, just 1 week shy of his 69th birthday, he became one of the first British actors to succumb to the disease. The news sent shockwaves through the industry. Co-star Michael Kitchen broke his usual silence to call Benedict the glue that held our company together. Benedict's legacy lives on through his sons, Freddie, a musician, and Leopold, who followed his father into acting. In 2022, Leopold starred in a BBC radio drama dedicated to Jay's memory, using his father's distinctive voice recorder to capture every inflection. It was a poignant full-circle moment for a man whose final years embodied the quiet dignity he brought to Captain Kiefer, a soldier who kept going no matter the odds. When Pigot Smith strode onto the set of Foyle's War in 2010 as the formidable Brigadier Wilson, he brought with him the gravitas of a rota-trained Shakespearean legend. At 64, his piercing gaze and military bearing made him the perfect personification of wartime authority. But behind the scenes, this consummate professional was grappling with private heartbreak. Fresh from his Olivier Award-winning performance in King Lear, Pigot Smith threw himself into the role with characteristic intensity. He'd rewrite his dialogue overnight to make the military jargon sound authentic, recalled director David Thacker. Yet during filming, the actor was quietly reeling from his painful divorce from actress Pamela Miles after 30 years of marriage. Colleagues noticed he'd often retreat to his trailer to review letters from his only son, Tom. The Foyle's War chapter came during an unexpected career renaissance. After years being typecast as colonial officers, notably in The Jewel and the Crown, Pigot Smith relished playing a complex modern military man. This resurgence led to his magnificent final role as George VI in The Crown, a performance he never saw air. On April 7, 2017, just days after wrapping a triumphant West End run in Death of a Salesman, the 70-year-old actor suffered a fatal heart attack at his London home. His sudden passing stunned the theatrical world. The lights of London's West End dimmed in tribute. In a cruel twist, his memoir, Do You Know Who I Am?, containing heartbreaking reflections on his failed marriage, was published posthumously. Today, Pigot Smith is remembered through the acting scholarship bearing his name at his alma mater, Bristol University. As Foyle's War co-star Anthony Howell noted, Tim made you believe every word. When his brigadier said, "That's an order," even the director stood up straighter. Corin Redgrave's 2003 appearance as the steely-eyed ACC Rose in Foyle's War marked both a professional comeback and personal reckoning for the legendary actor. At 64, he channeled his family's famed theatrical intensity into this brief but unforgettable role, a police official whose quiet authority barely concealed simmering political tensions. The Redgrave dynasty's most radical member arrived on set still recovering from a very public breakdown. Just 3 years earlier, he'd been arrested during an impassioned protest against arms trafficking, screaming Shakespearean verse at baffled police officers. Corin didn't just play characters. Observed co-star Michael Kitchen, he embodied causes. This firebrand reputation had sidelined his career throughout the 1990s, with MI5 even allegedly monitoring his far-left activism. His Foyle's War role came during an unlikely late-career resurgence. Between takes, Redgrave would scribble Marxist theory in the margins of his script while mentoring young actors about using art as revolution. The production team accommodated his unique process. Director Jeremy Silberstein recalled, "We'd shoot around his hospital visits for heart treatment. Then he'd deliver these flawless, chilling takes." Tragedy struck in 2005 when a massive coronary left him partially paralyzed. In a testament to his resilience, Redgrave returned to the stage in 2009, playing a wheelchair-bound King Lear. His final performance before prostate cancer claimed him on April 6, 2010, at age 70. The actor's radical legacy endures through his 4 children, particularly daughter Gemma Redgrave, who carries the family torch on Doctor Who. As Foyle's War creator Anthony Horowitz noted, Corin brought real history into our fictional world. The rage, the passion, the unshakable convictions. That wasn't acting. That was him. When 23-year-old Honeysuckle Weeks first appeared as the plucky Samantha Stewart in Foyle's War, 2002, her girl-next-door charm made her an instant fan favorite. As Foyle's loyal driver turned assistant, she delivered a deceptively complex performance, her bright smile often masking wartime trauma. But behind the scenes, Weeks was navigating her own turbulent coming-of-age under public scrutiny. The role catapulted the young actress to fame, but the spotlight proved harsh. Tabloids obsessively covered her 2006 marriage to tech entrepreneur Lawrence Stormonth Darling, only to sensationalize their 2012 divorce. "I went from being Darling Sam to a gossip column punchline overnight," she later confessed. The backlash temporarily derailed her career, with casting directors typecasting her as just the cute sidekick. A decade later, Weeks staged a quiet renaissance. Now 45, she balances selective acting work, including a well-received return to period drama in The Dulles, with raising her 2 sons in the English countryside. Her 2023 memoir, Steering My Own Course, revealed startling depths. Battles with anxiety, the pressure of child stardom. She first acted at age 9. And how playing Sam Stewart's resilience helped her survive Hollywood's meat grinder. Fans still stop her to quote Sam's iconic lines, especially, "Right you are, Mr. Foyle," a phrase she's learned to embrace rather than resent. "That character gave me purpose when I was too young to understand my own," Weeks reflects. "Now I realize Sam's greatest lesson wasn't about solving crimes. It was about standing back up when life knocks you down." When Ellie Haddington first appeared as Steely MI5 officer Hilda Pierce in Foyle's War, 2003, few could have guessed the personal battles raging beneath her character's unshakable wartime resolve. At 48, Haddington brought a quiet ferocity to the role, her piercing stares and clipped delivery masking the character's carefully guarded vulnerability. Off-screen, Haddington was fighting her own war with depression following the sudden death of her first husband in 1999. Playing Hilda's controlled strength became my lifeline, she revealed in a rare 2018 interview. The actress would arrive hours early to set, using Hilda's crisp military posture as armor against the grief. Colleagues noticed her habit of rewriting dialogue to sharpen Hilda's intelligence. "Ellie fought for every syllable," recalled producer Jeremy Silverstone. The role sparked a career resurgence, leading to acclaimed stage work in the audience opposite Helen Mirren. But Haddington's greatest victory came privately, remarrying in 2010 and finding equilibrium through therapy and painting. Now 70, she still takes selective roles, including a 2024 Doctor Who appearance, but prioritizes mental health advocacy. "Hilda Pierce taught me you can be strong without being invulnerable," Haddington reflects. It's a lesson that resonates with fans, particularly women veterans who credit the character with helping them reconcile service with emotional wounds. The actress keeps one memento on her desk: Hilda's prop MI5 badge, its edges worn smooth from her fingers during those darkest scenes. When Julian Ovenden first appeared as Christopher Foyle's idealistic RAF pilot son in 2002, the 25-year-old seemed destined for stardom. With his matinee idol looks and crystalline baritone voice, honed at Oxford and the Royal Academy of Music, Andrew Foyle's wartime heroism became an emotional anchor of the early seasons. But behind the polished veneer, Ovenden was already learning how cruel the industry could be. The actor's post-**Foyle* career became a roller coaster of near misses. After being shortlisted for James Bond in 2005, losing to Daniel Craig, he endured a decade of almost roles, including a Downton Abbey part that was drastically reduced. His 2008 Broadway debut in Marguerite closed prematurely, while his dream role as Javert in Les Miserables, 2019, coincided with vocal cord damage. "There were years where I'd only get calls to play handsome corpses," he quipped bitterly to The Telegraph. Personal life proved equally turbulent. His 2006 marriage to opera singer Kate Royal collapsed under the strain of his career frustrations, though they remained co-parents to their 2 sons. A 2017 car accident left him with titanium plates in his jaw, an eerie parallel to Andrew Foyle's own wartime injuries. Now 48, Ovenden has found unexpected peace through voice work, notably The Crown as Prince Andrew, and teaching at his alma mater. He occasionally reunites with Foyle castmates, though admits Michael Kitchen still calls me boy like we're in 1942. His most poignant performance came in 2023's The Motive and the Cue, playing Richard Burton, another magnificent voice haunted by what might have been. When Jeremy Swift debuted as the unassuming civil servant Glenville Harrison in Foyle's War, 2013, audiences immediately recognized the actor's gift for finding depth in quiet characters. At 53, Swift brought subtle comic timing and unexpected pathos to Harrison's bureaucratic dilemmas, a far cry from his later fame as Downton Abbey's bumbling butler Spratt. Behind the scenes, Swift was fighting a private battle. During filming, he struggled with alcoholism, later admitting he could barely remember shooting some scenes. I'd show up hungover and hope Michael Kitchen's laser focus would pull me through, he confessed in his memoir. The death of his father during production sent him into a tailspin, culminating in a 2015 rehab stint that nearly cost him Downton. His comeback became industry legend. Sober since 2016, Swift rebuilt his career with roles in Ted Lasso and The Great. He credits Foyle's War with teaching him how to disappear into characters instead of my own pain, a lesson he now shares as a mentor at recovery centers. Now 64, Swift laughs about his Foyle days. Glenville was the first time I played someone competent. His real-life redemption arc, however, is no joke. It's inspired former co-stars to seek his advice on their own struggles. As Foyle creator Anthony Horowitz observed, Jeremy turned his life around with the same quiet determination he brought to Harrison's paperwork crises. Rupert Fraser's 2004 appearance as the stern but principled Commander Howard in Foyle's War came at a pivotal crossroads in the actor's life. Then, 57, Fraser brought his signature aristocratic gravitas to the role, a naval officer wrestling with wartime morality, unaware it would be one of his final major performances before financial ruin reshaped his career. The Oxford-educated actor had been a staple of British period dramas since the 1980s, with standout roles in A Room with a View and The Jewel in the Crown. But during Foyle's War filming, Fraser was quietly liquidating assets after a disastrous investment in a Shakespeare theater company collapsed. Rupert would film intense interrogation scenes, then take calls from creditors during breaks, recalled co-star Anthony Howell. Fraser's personal life mirrored this turbulence. His 20-year marriage to actress Susanna York ended in 1995 amid rumors of his gambling debts. Though he later reconciled with his 2 children, the family remained estranged during his Foyle years. The show's success briefly revived his fortunes. He purchased a modest flat in Brighton with his earnings, but by 2010, he'd retreated to teaching drama at a Sussex boarding school. His death in February 2024 at age 77 went largely unnoticed by the public, though former students filled his memorial service with stories of his kindness. In a poignant full-circle moment, his final performance was an audio drama of The Tempest, recorded in the very theater that had bankrupted him decades prior. As Foyle director David Thacker noted, Rupert played commanders and kings, but his greatest role was surviving life's storms with quiet dignity. When Ronald Pickup appeared in Foyle's War, 2004, as the aristocratic Sir Giles Messenger, the 64-year-old actor effortlessly embodied the character's quiet authority and moral ambiguity. It was a masterclass in subtlety from a performer whose distinguished career spanned 6 decades, from a National Theatre's golden era to The Crown. But behind Pickup's professional success lay profound personal tragedies that shaped his later years. The role came during a painful period. Pickup's wife of 40 years, Lance Traverse, was battling dementia during filming. Crew members recalled how he'd rehearse his lines by her hospital bed, transforming his grief into Messenger's world-weary gravitas. Ronald channeled everything into his work, said co-star Michael Kitchen. You'd see the pain in his eyes between takes, then he'd deliver absolute perfection. Pickup's resilience became legendary. After Land's death in 2018, he threw himself into projects, earning a BAFTA nomination at 78 for the Best Exotic Marigold Hotel. But his final years were marked by increasing solitude in his Primrose Hill home, where he'd reread his Foyle's war scripts for comfort. His passing on February 24th, 2021, just months after his final role in The Crown, prompted an extraordinary tribute. London's National Theatre dimmed its lights for the man who'd been one of its defining 20th-century actors. As Foyle creator Anthony Horowitz noted, Ronald made villains human and heroes flawed. That was no performance. It was the wisdom of a man who'd truly lived. The stories of Foyle's War's cast reveal a poignant truth. The actors who brought World War II Britain to life fought battles far beyond screen. Some, like Michael Kitchen in Honeysuckle Weeks, found resilience through reinvention. Others, Benedict, Pigot Smith, Corin Redgrave, met tragic ends that mirrored the wartime losses they portrayed. Together, they crafted a series that transcended crime drama to become a meditation on morality, sacrifice, and survival. What lingers most isn't just their performances, but how their real lives echoed their characters' struggles. Kitchen's Foyle and Pigot Smith's Brigadier Wilson embodied stoic duty, just as the actors themselves weathered personal storms with quiet dignity. Benedict's Kiefer and Redgrave's Rose channeled convictions that mirrored their off-screen passions, whether for family or political ideals. Weeks and Ovenden grew up publicly alongside their characters, their career tumbles and comebacks reflecting the show's themes of perseverance. The series' legacy lives in unexpected places. In Ellie Haddington's mental health advocacy, Jeremy Swift's addiction recovery work, and the scholarships honoring Pickup and Pigot Smith. Even the departed cast members remain vibrantly alive through their art. Benedict's son using his father's recorder for acting, Fraser's students staging his favorite plays. As we revisit Foyle's War, we're no longer just watching detectives solve crimes. We're witnessing a time capsule of extraordinary artists, some gone too soon, others still evolving, who turned a period drama into something timeless. Their collective journey asks us the same question Foyle posed in every episode. Asterisk, what will you do when faced with the impossible? Asterisk, their answer, on screen and off, was always the same. Asterisk, carry on. Asterisk,